These are normal money habits that are great, but they can keep you poor. They can keep you from moving over to building wealth. Saving too much. Yep, there's such a thing. Saving is great. Under normal circumstances, saving is great and you should save. But once you've gotten your emergency funds and then some, however amount you're comfortable with, then it's time to start making your money work for you. It's about working smarter, not working harder. It's now time to move away from just putting money away, chucking money away, to moving money into things that will make you money, into investments, into can you get into real estate? Can you start a business? Or can you invest in a business? I love this quote. How many millionaires do you know who have become wealthy by investing in savings accounts? I rest my case. Choosing comfort too soon. You want the best car, you want the best house, you want to have the best outfits, the best experience, or should I say experience. You want the best of everything because you're now in your 30s or your 40s. You feel as though, you know what, you've been putting in time, you've been working, you've been earning, and it's time for you to experience the best of everything. I get it. Remember, these are normal money habits. Under normal circumstances, there's nothing wrong with that. Reward yourself is great, but everything doesn't now have to be the best of the best. Rather than buying a Mercedes, maybe we should still stick with a Sienna, maybe a wrong comparison. Choosing comfort too early rather than understanding the benefit of planting seeds will not only cost you now, but also the future. You don't have to shoot for the best. How about shoot for the better? In some cases, I understand, listen, it's better to get the best than throw money away, right? I get it. But it cannot be the best for everything. If you've been here long enough, you know we are buying a house. We've actually signed on the dotted line, but the house isn't ready yet. It's a beautiful house. It's a wonderful house. It's better than the house we had before, but it doesn't have everything we need. And we had the choice to make it everything we could ever want for. You know, it's not like we're balling, don't get me wrong. But what I mean is we had choices to make. We could have selected several things. We could have gone a whole different route. But and we were tempted. I was so tempted. I really want a tub. But it's understanding right now in our lives, yes, we're making more than we used to, but this is not a time to aim for the best. Understanding we can make those expenses, but we would rather have disposable income to put towards the investments we want, to put towards things that will bring us money rather than things that just keeps taking our money. Choosing comfort too soon is being short-sighted. You just focus on now, but you need to be focused on what your long-term plan is. Waiting till you have enough money before you invest. Investing is how a regular Joe can earn wealth over time. Because when it comes to investing, it's not just about the amount of money you're putting in, it's about how much time you keep that money invested. Take a look at this. Not investing or thinking you don't have enough money to invest is because you don't understand compound interest. Interest is how your credit card companies make money. So you know it would work for you. The longer that balance sits on the credit card, the interest being charged is now charged on a higher balance. Every month, the balance is going up and interest is building on there. The same works for your investment. So it's the amount of time what you invested stays invested. So even if you can only invest $15 every single month, thank God in 2024, it's so easy to invest just $15. That's fine. You're not going to always remain at $15, but get started. And even if you leave it at $15, you end up making more because that $15 every month over 40 years will yield a lot of money. Einstein said, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. This next one is really for those of you who are the first in your circle or the first in your family to make good money. And for those of us that are immigrants, I think will really relate to this. It is taking on too much liability too soon, too early. So you're the first in your family to make good money or the first in your circle to make good money. And, you know, I say immigrants because I think a lot of immigrant culture, there's that understanding that you help your parents out, you help your family members out. And so then you're making good money. Your income supersedes your expenses, and that's great. But because you have these liabilities, you have these responsibilities, I should say. That's a better way to say it. I'm trying to be careful with how I say it because it is great that you can help out. It's a blessing to be a blessing, but you don't want to do that in a way that it stifles your income. You want to take on and assist, but you also want to be careful not to give away so much where all you're doing is paying for your monthly expense, but you have nothing left to build with. It's just as important that you build because you build and you planting seeds that will help you bring in money in the future. It's a good way to make sure that they will also be taken care of in the future. So for those of you who are blessed to make good income now, right away you want to help with everything. Don't do that. I know guilt comes in, I know responsibility. That's great. You can help out with some, but you don't have to take on everything. You can afford to pay the rent, you can afford to pay all the bills and utilities. But wait a minute, maybe just tackle the utilities and not the rent. They were doing fine before you came along, before you started making good money. They'll be fine. Keep some money to help you grow, right? You don't want to get to a situation where all you're now doing is just taking care of your expenses and all the others you're using for something to help out. Make sure you have a long term plan and make sure you're not shortchanging that long term plan. And let's move on to going with the flow. When it comes to going with the flow, it's threefolds. Going with the flow, once our income is to a point where, we can pay our bills, no problem. There's this tendency to just, it's peaceful. We can pay off our credit cards every month. And we don't really pay so much attention to the fact that our expenses are increasing. Now we're growing as a family. The kids, we're paying for daycare, we're paying for extracurricular activities. We need a bigger house, which means our mortgage is higher. We need a bigger car, and so now you have car payment. Or we travel more, we drive more, so our gas prices are higher. It's just regular life situations. Just means your expenses are growing, right? But we're not mindful of the fact that our expenses are growing because we're just going with the flow. And even though our income can cover the expenses, we're not making the best use of our income, or we're not being efficient with our income. That's a better word. We're not being efficient with our income. That can keep you from moving from doing okay to building wealth. Because once again, you're just saying the fact that, well, I'm just paying for the necessities, and they are necessities, but because you haven't paid attention or to figure out how we can adjust, you're not leaving yourself with this enough disposable income at the end of the month to build, to plant. And it also leads to wasting because when you're just going with the flow, you don't realize you're not being efficient, right? I've had to do this. I mean, I think having a finance channel is a great thing for me, even because it constantly keeps me in that mindset. There are seasons in our lives when it's like, you know what, forget it. For my own mental health right now, let's thank God we can cover the expenses, and that's fine. But at some point you need to pay attention to your expenses, pay attention to the lifestyle creep that has happened, because it will happen. As long as you're living, it will happen. But you need to at some point start reviewing your expenses, start reviewing your what's going on with your money, so that you're not wasting, so that you're more efficient with your money. Another part of going with the flow that I was hesitant to discuss, because if you've been here for the last few months, you've heard me say this before, it's not upgrading our skills, being too secure in our careers, not understanding that there's also skill inflation. So every now and then we need to reevaluate our skills, reevaluate our careers. How are we making ourselves more valuable? How are we upgrading our skills or refining our skills? Because there is such a thing as skill inflation. That, yes, I came up with that word, but it means as the years go on, if you don't better yourself, if you don't refine your skills, if you don't acquire new skills or the newer version of your skill, then you become more likely to be disposable. Now, things can happen. Everyone is disposable. Heck, even me as a stay-at-home mom, I was about to say I'm disposable. The heck? But listen, I would go back to work if need be. All right, that's what I meant. This is what I meant, but then it was coming out wrong. If my job as a stay-at-home mom is no longer needed, i.e., what we need more of is bringing in money, mom. You know what I mean? I have no problem going back to work. That's what I mean by I'm also this. disposable as a stay-at-home mom, right? This is my primary job, but if my job bringing in money is what we need as a family, then heck, that's disposable too. That's what I meant. But anyway, let's not get too comfortable in our careers, in what we have, because that will keep you from getting more wealth. David Goggins has a wonderful quote. He said, "We're either getting better or we're getting worse." There's another variation of it, something about as long as we're living, if you're not moving forward, you're moving backward. Don't think you're staying still, you're moving backwards. So going with the flow was just thinking career wise, hey, I'm good here. I have this wonderful job or this wonderful career and my income is just fine. That's great. Sometimes it's what you do. You just coast and then you've rested. Come on. How can we sharpen up those skills? How can we get better skills that make us more valuable, that helps us demand more, to say, yes, I'm worth more when you do your annual review because XYZ, here's what I can do now. Here's what I've done. How can you challenge yourself so you become more valuable financially? Right? These are all normal money habits that, under normal circumstances, oh, great. But if you want to move over to building wealth, these are essential. I'm working on it. These are the things I'm working on as well, because it's not just about I can pay my expenses. No, we want to be comfortable. We want to enjoy it. Dang it, we want to have a good life and not worry about money, right? These are all things we need to do. Now, if you've enjoyed any part of this video, all you owe me is a thumbs up. And if you're all about money, discussing money, making money, spending money, then subscribe, because that is what we do over here. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video.